Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here tonight and tuning in online. It's such a privilege to stand here in front of you. Since we started Einride, a lot has happened, but a lot of things are still the same. And tonight we're going to tell you a little bit more about how we see the future and what we can do to keep driving this change. All of you that are here and listening in now are here for a reason. Because you believe that something different could be done, something different is possible. And we started Einride with ambition to be the driver of the change. And it's not the logical thing to start a company. You need a reason for it. You need to understand why this needs to happen. For us, and for me, it was about that change. Something different was possible. Through new technology, we had the opportunity to challenge how things look today. But someone needed to get it done. And when we felt it was an obligation to do our duty to drive that change. And that's why we started Einride. And since we started, the industry that we are challenging have been using 11 million barrels of oil per day. And it still constitutes 7% or more of the global CO2 emissions. Transport is the major consumer of oil globally. But something else is possible. You can actually make change. And you're here today because you believe that that change is actually possible. And the change has started. I'm extremely grateful for everyone that contributes and makes this change possible. Because at the core, in our heart, that's where the change needs to happen. Because we're all addicted to fossil fuel, and we're all addicted to the current system. But by choices, we can create something different. And at Einride, we are trying to do our part in it. And this is our contribution to it. These are the first sketches for what later became the pod. We were in the midst of a renovation. There were crazy things starting a company. And we did these sketches to represent exactly how we saw the future. No cap. Designed and developed for transport. And based on our ideas, we set out to launch a representation of how we saw the future. And that was the first pod. There was a show prototype that literally didn't have a drivetrain in it, but it was a representation of where we wanted to go. Not where we were, not what we could or could do at the moment, but what we wanted to accomplish and how we saw the future. And we're very grateful that so many people saw the same thing. Because that's why we're here today. But we didn't stop there. From the first show prototype, we managed to be the first to go on public road. We did what everyone said couldn't be done, and especially not for the money that we had to our disposal. So it was not the big players that was the first to do this. It was a small company from Sweden that did it. And we did it thanks to our team, but our dedication to visualize how we see the future that we can take a step-by-step approach and do a gradual change to do something different. Our vision and belief has always been the same, but we have also had the realization that change are taken in step by step. Understanding the engineering challenge, understanding how we can take the next step. And that's always has been at the core of what Einride is. The ambition when we started Einride was to create the technology that was missing to make this transition happen. That was not that easy to actually explain when it started. I think that one of my most common questions over the last 4 years has been, why don't you make a diesel truck? Or why isn't anyone else doing this? The reason behind it is that still some pieces are missing in the market. We realized a few years back what that technology was. So we spent the last 4 years developing that technology and understanding of how this thing can be done differently. And at the core of it is the freight operating system. The freight operating system is literally our way to work with our clients. Literally work with their needs, how much goods they need to transport, where do they need to be transported from, how much goods, what's temperature. All of that matters when you go electric, and also when you go electric autonomous. But unless you work with the ones who have the actual transport needs, that's not possible. So we work with the ones who have the actual transport needs, not selling the trucks. And that makes us very different. And that also allows us to take a different approach to how we see electric fleet. That means that we can, based on our customers' needs, design and develop the modeling or how to run and execute the actual electric need. And what we see from our work with our clients is that roughly 20 to 30% of all electric or all transport today can be done electric, with a good business case already with the existing batteries. But it's all based on combining the freight operating system with the electric fleet system, combining and understanding the needs of our clients. But what would Einride be without the autonomous part? And most importantly, you need the two others. You need the freight operating system and the electric fleet system to make this transition happen to autonomous. Once you get the pod, do you think it's really feasible to keep sending it the fax? No. You need to have the freight operating system and the electric fleet system and combine it with autonomous to make this all work. And that's the technology we are developing. The freight operating system is literally the system that enables us to understand the actual transport needs. And with that, we can offer unique services like the freight mobility service. And we are not done. We are starting this technology journey. But the services and working with the client's actual transport needs is the essence to make this happen. That doesn't mean that we should take over the customer's planning or the needs. It just means that we need their input on the transport needs. Otherwise, you can't go electric. With the electric fleet system, that's really one of our core technologies and also where we have the most understanding of patents, is literally how to run and operate electric fleet. Because when you make a diesel platform, it's literally, here's the keys. Go out and have fun. If you do the same thing with an electric truck, you're not going to get very far. But if you take the systematic approach to it and work with the clients for how to best operate and optimize and module it, you can actually address 20 to 30% of the existing market at the current batteries with a good business case. This is data from one of our clients, and based on this data, we can understand exactly how to route and execute these transports. It doesn't mean that we can go all the way up north. It doesn't mean that we can do all applications, but it means that we can understand where it's possible. And that's the knowledge that we need to create if we want to make the transition happen from diesel to electric. And that also allows us to take a very unique approach to autonomous, because we don't need to be able to do everything. Historically, the autonomous space has been dominated by great engineers, pursuing the ambition to create a driver, an AI driver that's better than a human. That's quite a hard task. There's a lot of open possibilities. We took that different road. We said, let's limit our challenge. Let us take it step by step. Instead of saying we should do everything, let's take it on a step-by-step approach. Do one lane at a time, one client at a time, one functionality at a time, working with the actual business case behind it. And at the core, it's all about getting from A to B with a good business case. And that has been our ambition since the start. Today's trucks, in my view, is not very autonomous. They're not electric. So I have to say that literally they are diesel and not so autonomous. And that's how the world sees transport. But at Einride, we see it a bit different. We see that we can apply autonomous and electric to do something different. And this is how you're used to seeing us, and this is what you've been displaying when it comes to pods. And literally getting from one warehouse to another warehouse, and at the core, transporting the goods we need to make society work. And on this journey has been a lot of surprises and a lot of challenges, and legislation is still a little bit to catch up. But at the core, we're making progress. And the ones we displayed and that we feel comfortable actually putting out there is what we call ATM 1 and 2. That's the application we did, for instance, in Jönköping. It's literally in fenced-off areas when you can apply this transport without getting any permit. And the ones we had, for instance, in Jönköping is 82. And one of our major hurdles has been the legislation behind it. And that's something that we need to look into if we want to make this change happen. How do we deploy new technology to face and challenge the existing problems which we have as a society? And the potential is there. But when we started, our ambition was never to sort of stop with AT1 and 2. Our ambition was to challenge the complete industry. That's why we have to go faster. And this is from our test and development, literally doing 85 kilometers per hour, reaching the speeds that's required to go on highways. And I can say that I not think this is very amazing, because I think it really is. And these videos are extremely cool. But when you create new technology, what do you need to do? Well, at the core, you need to push it to the limits. So in a few weeks, or on the 15th of October, we're going to try to set the speed record on the Top Gear track in England. Because no one had brought a pod around a racetrack at that speed. And what you do with new technology is, of course, to put it to good use. And that also means that we are today launching AT3 and 4 because we feel that we are ready to make the next step. That doesn't mean that we can go everywhere and we can do all applications, but the speed is there. And what we're pursuing now is to find the clients and the customers that want to work with us in deploying this new technology in a completely new way, because it's possible to do things different. For AT3, it's an application for rural. It's speeds up to 45 kilometers per hour. It's in certain applications. And what we call rural areas, less populated, more frequent. But this is a huge market. And AT4 is in the control environments like highways, in control environments like when it comes to certain complicated highways. And with this, we believe that we can cover up to 60 to 70% of all transports. It doesn't mean that we want to do cities. It doesn't mean that we do every single application. But logistics happens mostly outside of cities, between a hub, a back and forth. And that's what we want to do. Utilize this new technology in a completely new way, applying AT3 and 4 moving forward a completely new way. And the best part of it is that we actually can be very cost competitive. I think that everyone here now wants a pod. So I can say that please go in and see what the potential is here. But we're not only doing this for growing a company. The ambition with this technology is literally also to be a game changer when it comes to actually pushing for zero death in traffic. Autonomous systems are already saving millions of lives out there. Autonomous braking system, autonomous anti-collision systems, all of those are done and computed by a computer. And we can apply this new technology, literally save millions of lives globally. And this technology has the potential to make us reach zero death in traffic. The same methodology has been applied in the aviation industry, commercial flights. In 2017, even though there was more people flying than ever before, there were 0 killed in commercial flight. And that was done through applying both new technology, safety systems, and methodology to constantly improve. And we can do that same for the transport industry. And with it, we can also create new jobs. Being a truck driver is one of the most dangerous jobs out there. And with this technology, we can put them in a very safe environment, letting them monitor and control the vehicles remotely, just as you do with other autonomous electric transport systems that already exist, allowing them to go in and have a cup of coffee, work out for lunch, and go back to their families after their shifts end. But maybe most importantly, because I consider our generation's greatest challenge to challenge the existing system and allow us to go CO2 neutral. Reduce the emissions of CO2 is our responsibility. And with this technology, you can actually do it with a great business case. And with all of these next steps that we are taking, this amazing design that we did 3 years ago literally has served its purpose. So with our next step, where we consider literally today's trucks to be fast, but I wouldn't say that's new design. And with it, I would say that the old design was new design, but not very fast. Can you guess what that means for a truck that's both fast? Well, we need a new design. And this is how the next generation of pods looks like. We've taken everything we learned this year and put it into the new design. We updated the front and we made it more adaptable for production. And we also make it a little bit more updated overall, the design. So for us, it's a way to represent and also tell the story that we are taking the next step as a company. And we try to keep a lot of the good features that we had with the original design, like the shape of an animal. The representation from the side was actually meant to be a bison, to be a steady carrier of goods. And you can see that still in our new design. And it's also a way to sort of say bringing what we learned into the design as well. And we did some slight updates to be able to keep up with the changing times. But we are very glad to bring this new design when we take the next step for the new pods. So this is how our offer for AT124 looks like. We are very glad and pleased to be able to launch this and to bring it to the customers. And we have had both investors and people supporting us over this year since we launched. But we are very comfortable that over the next couple of years that we will keep delivering and keep challenging how the future of freight mobility looks like. And if you want to get one, and of course everyone needs one, you need to go into our website where you can order one for just the bargain of $10,000. Because the future is not only sustainable, it's also cost competitive. So recommend it to a friend and buy it to yourself. Because who doesn't want to have a pod? And it will be very cool to have you in a garage to showcase your friends. If you go into it, just fill in, order, what kind of AT you like, and what kind of need you do need. For instance, if you want to go back and forth in rural areas, I would recommend AT3. And it's now open for ordering. We're very glad to have a lot of great companies already working with us for making this happen. But for us, this launch is literally a great representation and a step forward in making the future of transport happen. Since we started Einride, our ambition has been to display how it should be done. What you could do if you start with literally a clean shape. And this is definitely how you should order. We are very grateful that you can actually take the next step now. And for us as a company, we are ready to take the next step. And we believe our clients in the world is as well. And we want to be the first to bring this to market and keep pushing what's possible. Because change is really happening now. And we recently got started, but we're only getting started. And there are literally 3 to 4 million trucks sold yearly. I think last year, 10 of them were electric. And just from a business perspective, 20 to 30% of the market should be electric. If it wasn't just for the existing structures. That's why we're here tonight. That's why we are tuning in. That's why Einride exists. But we will keep pushing, making the world electric and electric autonomous. Thank you for listening in and keep supporting this change. Thank you very much.